So good morning. You're welcome to the World Cup Derby. It's morning where I am too. It's the early hours of the morning in Boston, just in a hotel room somewhere. It's not quite the repeat of maybe the earlier shows in this series, which is outside a stadium or in a stadium or some kind of World Cup setting. This has been a travel day, probably more travel or a longer travel than it was planned. A delayed departure from Atlanta and the Pico Lopez excitement. A bit of a sprint, although more of a crawl through the traffic to get out to Foxborough from Boston to watch Iraq play Norway. And then a little bit of a crawl back into the city to try and watch Argentina via Algeria. Did make the hat-trick moment for Lionel Messi that most people around the world, if they weren't watching it, they're waking up to the news of it today. And it sort of capped a day of World Cup stars. Like, that was the story. You had Mbappé in the earlier game. Then you had Erling Haaland in the game I was at, Iraq v Norway, as I mentioned. And then it follows up into Messi's exploits. And yeah, I think it's going to be difficult for anything that happens in Austria v Jordan, which is ongoing over the shoulder there, to in any way compete in the headlines with what went before. But it's, Messi, of course, the guy ended up back in Boston, seeing the Scottish takeover. I mean, it is real. Ended up being able to watch the last 20-25 minutes in a place dominated by Scottish fans who were cheering for Messi. And it was a nice moment, like when he got his hat-trick, but at the full-time whistle, commentary off, the Scottish national anthem on. Everything you've heard is true. Everything you've seen is true. The taps are covered in Scottish stickers and messages. Something about Scotland making the World Cup great again, which is obviously themed and aimed in a particular way. But Iraq-Norway was my game. And the thing is, I completely understand why the story of today, for so many people, will be the strikers, the stars, the scorers. Like Erling Haaland, even just going into the stadium, around the stadium, when he was called out, the loudest cheer was for him. There was a lot of Norway jerseys there, some Man City jerseys there. And while there was a lot of Norwegians in the ground because it's their first World Cup since 1998, which is incredible for such a great football country with such a great squad, and there's no doubt that there was this massive sort of neutral fan base for Haaland, and it's almost a very American thing. Like, people come to see the star. It's almost like the NBA frontman, the NFL quarterback. That's who they expect to see, even listening to some of the American media around when Haaland scores, as he did. He scored twice. Like, that's what he does. That's what he does. It very much, he delivered the story. And it is, I'm very conscious of something I've noticed, even in Toronto in the early days here, seeing Haaland's image on a billboard. He's been on so many TV shows and promos here. There is a sense of trying to sell this name to a wider audience. But yet, I have to say, taking all those obvious points into consideration, and of course, the main story for everyone today will probably be Messi, but you can pick Haaland and you can pick Mbappé. And as we go into the games that take place on, what day of the week is it? It's Wednesday. We're going to have England entering the fray. We've got Portugal, which will obviously be a bit of main character energy going on there too, with Ronaldo. But I do have to say, probably my story out of the day was the goal scorer for Iraq. It's Aymen Hussein, who is the, I suppose, I don't know, sometimes these are clumsy comparisons, but in a way is like the Haaland in his country. He is, the top scorer in the ranks. He is the player who scored the goal that got Iran into the competition. But he is also a player that when he came to the States, he was questioned for 7 hours by officials at Chicago O'Hare Airport, which was a big story. Now, obviously, Iraq in a World Cup, like 40 years on from their last appearance. I don't know, maybe it's an age thing, but obviously you hear Iraq and you have certain images that come into your head. It's war, it's destruction, it's weapons of mass destruction, and all these sort of phrases that you were, it's just been there in the backdrop, this sort of association of Iraq with just conflict and death and trauma. And I think with Aymen Hussein, like you have that story. We have a player here whose father was in the Iraqi army, and was killed in an Al Qaeda attack when I think he was 12. His brother was kidnapped in the years that followed, and hasn't been seen since. And I suppose in the backdrop of all that tragedy, he set about starting his professional football career and has become like a big name in his country. He's never, he's played he's moved around maybe the Middle East and never sort of ventured too far. But he is a huge name within Iraqi football. And he came to this competition here. He came into this opener on the same pitch as Haaland, like the best striker in the world, certainly the most predatory striker in the world. And Haaland gets his opening goal, which was like, a great moment for people who came to see that. But then you had Hussein's header shortly afterwards, which I think, for me, like it was just one of the nicest moments you will see in the context of what's come before. He celebrated in front of the Iraqi fans, who again, like so many of the fans in this competition, yes, there are Iraqi fans here or Cape Verdean fans here, or take your pick of the countries, but largely they're people who already live here, as opposed to fans who've been able to actually travel here. And it didn't work out for Hussein afterwards, and have finished 4-1, and he even got himself in the wrong place for a luckless deflection for the fourth goal. But I think as much as, and maybe we've seen it with the Pico Lopez story, yes, as the competition goes on, you do want the competition to be about the big names, and you want to see Messi out front, and you want to see Haaland and Mbappé. And the reality is that we probably will. You sort of know that it's going to go that way. But I think in terms of the journeys that everyone has been on to reach this competition, I think Hussein was one of their better ones. That was the day. Not the easiest stadium to get to, as I mentioned. Scotland are out there on Friday. From what I've seen around town this evening, it is going to be pretty chaotic when they face Morocco, who have an incredible fan base. And the competition is building up. And of course, like as we move on, maybe the novelty of certain teams will fade. But I think Hussein's story is still one that will stick with me. But that's today's diary. I'm off to New York later on, which isn't a bad complaint, to take in some of the atmosphere there, and then come back down to Boston on Friday.